Imagine a philosophy that tells you your past traumas don't dictate your present,
Mm,
that your unhappiness is actually a choice you've made,
right.
and that, get this, true freedom comes from being disliked. Sounds pretty provocative, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It flips, conventional wisdom completely on its head,
Mm-hmm.
forces you to really reevaluate what we think about happiness and personal agency.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we unpack complex ideas from the books and research you share with us. And today we're diving into excerpts from The Courage to be Disliked,
Ah, yes.
that huge Japanese phenomenon by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitaka Koga.
Yeah, and this isn't your typical self-help book, is it?
Yeah.
It presents Alfred Adler's psychology through this really captivating dialogue. There's a skeptical youth and a wise philosopher,
Right.
and Adlerian psychology, maybe not as famous as Freud or Jung, but it makes some truly radical claims like people can change and be happy from this moment onward.
From this moment, wow.
And crucially, this idea that all problems are interpersonal relationship problems.
All problems. Okay, that's a big one. So our mission today really is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from this fascinating book. We'll explore these kind of counterintuitive ideas
Mm-hmm.
and see how they might offer you, a shortcut to a totally new perspective on happiness and freedom. So let's unpack this.
Okay, so the philosopher in the book, he introduces Adler's core concept of teleology.
Teleology.
Yeah, it's a big shift. It
Yeah.
basically says we should focus on our present goals
Okay.
rather than past causes. What psychologists often call etiology.
So the focus really shifts from digging into the past, the why, to asking what's the purpose right now.
Exactly. What goal is this behavior serving?
And this leads to one of Adler's most challenging ideas, I think, that your unhappiness isn't just a result of past trauma or bad circumstances.
Right.
It's a choice you've made to achieve some present goal.
Precisely. And think about the example in the book, the youth's friend who's shut himself in his room for years.
Yeah, the shut-in.
The Adlerian view isn't that he's shut in because he's anxious or afraid. It suggests he's actually creating that anxiety and fear
Creating it.
as a means to stay inside, as a tool. Maybe to get his parents' attention, or perhaps just to avoid the challenges, the potential failures of, engaging with society. He is essentially choosing this lifestyle.
Wow. That's a tough pill to swallow, especially when people feel genuinely victimized by things that happen to them.
It is.
How does Adler's view offer a way forward if you're told your deep trauma is a choice? It implies just a huge amount of personal responsibility.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's not just about, say, retreating like the shut-in. It can also be about control. The book talks about anger, for instance.
Anger as a tool.
Exactly. Not some uncontrollable flood of emotion, but something that can be taken out as needed.
Right.
To achieve a goal, like maybe overpowering someone in an argument.
The book gives us that example, doesn't it? The mother yelling at her daughter.
Yes.
But then the phone rings, and instantly she's calm, polite, puts the anger away.
Puts it away, and then hangs up, pulls it right back out again.
It's a deliberate act.
Okay.
Next time I find myself instantly calm when the doorbell rings mid-argument, I'll know Adler is watching me.
Well, it just shows how much control we might actually have, maybe without even realizing it.
And what's really fascinating here is how this connects to that Socratic idea, no one desires evil.
Mm-hmm. The paradox.
Yeah. In Adlerian thinking, it seems all actions, even, criminal ones, are pursued because the person perceives them as beneficial to oneself.
Right. Agathon in Greek, which just means beneficial, not necessarily morally good. No one actively chooses what they see as purely not beneficial, or kakon.
So it's all about perceived gain, however warped that perception might be.
It's a stark reframing of motivation, definitely.
Which brings us to that powerful Adler quote, "The important thing is not what one is born with, but what use one makes of that equipment."
Yes, love that one.
It really pushes you to think, how much am I choosing my current state, including my unhappiness? It's a direct challenge to just feeling like a victim of circumstances.
And this raises a huge question then, doesn't it? If we accept we choose our unhappiness, what does that imply for our connections with others?
Okay. Because the philosopher in the book makes this sweeping statement. All problems that people experience are interpersonal relationship problems.
All of them. It sounds extreme at first.
It really does. But then you start thinking, loneliness. You can only feel lonely because other people exist, right?
Exactly. If you were truly the only being in the universe, the concept wouldn't even make sense.
So the book says it's basically impossible to not get hurt in your relations with other people.
It's inevitable, yeah.
The only way to avoid problems entirely would be to live, in the universe all alone? Which is impossible.
Right. We're fundamentally social creatures. Our existence is tied up with others.
So, given that we're always interacting, always bumping up against each other, how do we deal with those feelings of inadequacy that inevitably come up?
Well, Adler makes a really key distinction here between a healthy feeling of inferiority,
Okay, healthy.
yeah, healthy, which he sees as a normal stimulant to striving and growth. It's like a launch pad, something that makes you want to move forward, improve, be happier.
That actually sounds quite positive, like it's the engine for progress.
It can be.
But what happens when that drive goes wrong? Goes off the rails?
That's when you get the inferiority complex.
Yeah.
And this is a misuse of that natural feeling.
The misuse how?
It leads to giving up thinking, I'm not good enough anyway, so why try? Or it leads to making excuses like, if only X were different, then I could do it.
Ah, the if-only trap. Like the examples in the book. The guy who wants to be a novelist but blames his job.
Right, never finishes anything.
Right.
Or the student afraid of blushing, who uses that fear to avoid the perhaps bigger fear of romantic rejection.
So it's a kind of clever, maybe unconscious self-sabotage, a way to protect yourself from failing.
Exactly. Protect the ego, avoid the risk. And related to this, the book suggests that people who seem overly confident, who flaunt superiority or brag a lot,
Yeah.
they often harbor these really deep hidden feelings of inferiority underneath it all. It's compensation,
Yeah.
a defense mechanism.
It's like they're trying too hard to convince themselves and everyone else.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And if we connect all this back to relationships, it leads us to maybe the most radical Adlerian idea of all.
Okay, I'm ready.
The courage to be disliked.
Right. This is where it gets really wild. The book flat out says there's no need to be recognized by others, and you must not seek recognition. That just feels so counter to everything, doesn't it? Social media, careers, validation seems key.
It does. But the reason why Adler says this is fascinating. Seeking recognition, he argues, means you end up living other people's lives.
How so?
By constantly trying to meet their expectations. And in doing that, you essentially throw away who you really are.
Yeah. Okay.
And the flip side is, if you're not living to satisfy others' expectations, then guess what? They aren't living to satisfy yours either. So don't get angry or upset when they don't act the way you want them to. It's only natural. It creates this space for mutual independence instead of codependence.
Okay, I see the logic.
Yeah.
And this flows right into that concept of separation of tasks, which feels revolutionary.
It really is.
This idea of defining clear boundaries by asking, whose task is this?
Yes. You figure out what's your responsibility, what's someone else's.
And you don't interfere in their tasks and
Right.
don't let them interfere in yours. It sounds simple, but the implications are huge.
Totally. Think about the parenting example. A child studying. Whose task is that?
The child's task.
Right. Not the parent. So if a parent constantly commands the child, study,
Yeah.
that's an intrusion. And it can actually make the child lose courage, paradoxically.
And instead of helping, it hinders.
Or believing in your partner. That belief, that trust, that's your task.
Oh.
How your partner acts based on that belief, or regardless of it, that's their task. Pushing your wishes onto them without respecting that boundary, the philosopher warns, can become almost like stalker-like intervention.
Wow. Strong words. It's really about respecting autonomy, isn't it?
Deeply.
Yeah.
And it suggests good relationships actually need a certain degree of distance.
Like reading a book not too close, not too far. That's a great metaphor.
Isn't it? And it shines a light on why relationships based purely on reward.
Like, I did this for you, so you owe me.
Exactly. I gave this much, so you should give me that much back. Why those are so problematic. They trap you. They block true freedom because they're built on conditions and unmet expectations.
Which brings us back to that starkest definition of freedom in the whole book.
Yep. Freedom is being disliked by other people.
Okay. Really, being disliked, that doesn't just sound counterintuitive. It sounds
Okay.
kind of lonely. Or maybe just permission to be a jerk.
Yeah, that's the immediate reaction, isn't it? But it's crucial. It's not about intentionally trying to be disliked or being insensitive.
So what is it about?
Being disliked is presented more as evidence, proof that you are exercising your freedom and living in freedom.
Proof. How?
Because it's a sign you're living according to your own principles, not bending to fit everyone else's expectations or judgments.
So the dislike is a byproduct of authenticity, not the goal itself.
Exactly. The cost of living freely is that sometimes one is disliked by other people because you're not conforming.
So real freedom means living unconcerned by others' judgments, not needing their approval, not fearing their dislike.
Yes, you choose your own path, your own way of being, like climbing your own slope instead of just rolling downhill with the crowd. It's about self-acceptance, really.
That's a genuinely powerful and, yeah, challenging idea. Not defiance, but inner freedom. And it all leads to that statement. The courage to be happy also includes the courage to be disliked.
hmm So with these ideas in mind, teleology, separation of tasks, the courage to be disliked, how do we actually navigate conflict better, build better relationships?
Good question. The book says when you face personal attacks, don't react in kind.
Right. Step down from the conflict. Remember, anger is just a tool to achieve a goal, usually dominance.
Use language and logic instead. Better tools for communication.
Much better.
That's hard, though, especially when you feel you are right and emotions are high. The philosopher says something like, the moment one is convinced that I am right in a relationship.
One has already stepped into a power struggle.
Yes.
The focus shifts immediately from resolving the issue to just winning.
It's an ego trap.
Totally. And to avoid that, Adlerian psychology pushes for horizontal relationships, not vertical ones.
Horizontal, meaning equal.
Equal footing, which means, controversially perhaps, no praise and no rebuke.
No praise. But why not? Isn't positive reinforcement good?
Because praise inherently implies a vertical relationship. It's a judgment passed down from someone of ability to someone of no ability.
Okay, I see the hierarchy there.
And it can actually create dependence, make the person reliant on praise, which hinders their freedom. Rebuke obviously does the same, puts one person above the other.
Okay, so if you can't praise, what do you do when someone does something well? How do you acknowledge it without creating that vertical dynamic?
Instead of praise, you use words of more straightforward gratitude and respect and joy.
Like,
Simple things. Thank you. I'm glad. That was a big help.
ah.
This encourages them by showing they've made a contribution. It fosters a genuine sense of work and belonging based on their action having value.
So it's about appreciation, not judgment.
Exactly. And it connects to valuing their being, their existence, over just their acts, their performance.
That feels like a massive shift. Valuing someone just for being there, not just for what they do. That sounds incredibly liberating, actually, for both people.
It really is. The book uses that example of the shut-in child helping with dishes. A simple thank you is way more powerful, in this view, than lecturing them about school.
Because it acknowledges their contribution, their worth right now.
Precisely. It fosters that core Adlerian need, the feeling of contribution. And for actually doing this, for starting these horizontal relationships, Adler's advice is blunt.
Yes, just do it.
Pretty much. Someone has to start. Other people might not be cooperative, but that is not connected to you. My advice is this. You should start.
Wow. No excuses. It puts the power, the agency right back in your hands. Change the dynamic yourself.
Yep.
So for you listening, where could you start shifting from a vertical to a horizontal relationship? Just one place.
And building on these horizontal relationships, the ultimate goal for Adler isn't just individual freedom, it's what he calls community feeling.
Community feeling or social interests, right?
Right. It's this sense that other people are your comrades,
Uh-huh.
that you have a place, a refuge among them.
And that leads to wanting to contribute.
Naturally. A desire to contribute to the community because you feel part of it.
It really changes how you see society. The book says the smallest unit isn't even the family, it's just you and I.
That connection between two individuals.
And that sense of belonging, it's not automatic. It's something that one acquires through one's own efforts. You have to build it.
You do. It's earned. And if you feel stuck, if you don't feel that belonging in your immediate community, say at work or school,
Yeah.
the advice is to listen to the voice of the larger community. Remember, the world is bigger. Don't cling to relationships or groups that make you feel unfree or unhappy. Find your place elsewhere.
There are always other communities. That's hopeful. And all of this community feeling, this contribution, leads us to Adler's definition of happiness itself, which is remarkably simple.
It really is. Happiness is the feeling of contribution.
That's it.
That's the core. It's the subjective sense that I am of use to someone.
Subjective sense. So it's about how you feel about your contribution.
Exactly. And importantly, this contribution isn't about self-sacrifice. Not at all. It's actually about becoming truly aware of the worth of the I.
So contributing helps you realize your own value.
Yes. The book points out even very wealthy people often keep working or do charity work. Why? To get that feeling of worth, that feeling of belonging, that sense of contribution. Just taking doesn't lead to lasting happiness.
And tied into this feeling of contribution is another piece of courage Adler asks for: the courage to be normal.
Ah, yes. Challenging that constant pressure to be special.
Which is everywhere, isn't it? It actually sounds like a relief to just accept being ordinary.
It does. It's about accepting your normal self rather than always striving to be especially good.
Yeah.
Or, interestingly, when that fails, sometimes people try to be especially bad just to get noticed.
Right. Any attention is better than none.
Yeah.
So just be okay with being okay.
Pretty much. And ultimately, this whole philosophy reshapes how we see life itself. Life isn't like climbing a mountain, Adler says, aiming for some summit where most of your life is just en route.
To a real life that hasn't started yet. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Instead, he says, life is a series of
A
moments.
series of moments.
Which one lives as if one were dancing right now, around and around each passing instant?
Dancing. I like that. So it's not about the destination, the peak.
No destination. The goal is the dancing itself. Fulfillment comes from dancing in earnest in the here and now.
Living fully in each moment.
That's it. And by having danced here and now in earnest into the full, that's when the meaning of your life will become clear to you. It emerges from the process, not the end point.
Wow. Okay. So we've journeyed through these really quite radical Adlerian ideas today. Choosing our unhappiness, defining freedom by being disliked,
The power of horizontal relationships, finding belonging through community feeling.
and finally finding happiness in the feeling of contribution, all while living or dancing fully in the here and now.
It's a profoundly liberating perspective, isn't it? But also challenging. It asks you to step up and take a level of personal agency that's, well, both exciting and maybe a bit daunting.
Definitely daunting. So here's a final thought for you to take away. If true happiness is this feeling of contribution, and if the courage to be happy also includes the courage to be disliked,
Yeah.
what's one radical, non-self-sacrificial step you could take this week? Something to contribute to someone else's life, knowing you might not get anything back, maybe even risk being misunderstood or disliked for it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Just think about how you might apply even one of these insights, how you might start dancing those moments right here, right now.